Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. Okay, so today I have Neil Levine on the line, and he is a partner and executive board member over at Marcum LLP. Neil, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam. It's always a pleasure.
All right, Neil. So we're getting ready for Atlantic City Microcap Conference. I think that you're going to be you're moderating a panel. Or are you on a panel? Like, tell me a little bit more about what's going on.
Yes. So being one of the, I'll say, elder statesmen of the accounting industry at age 62, I've been around a long time. I've been at many.
Wait, 62? That's a baby.
I'm a baby.
That's not elder statement.
Yeah, well, compared to what I see in the industry, but I've done a lot of panels. I'm moderating a panel on Wednesday morning, trends in the microcap space. And I've invited some of my friends, both in the legal and other accounting firms, to be on the panel. So we always have a good time.
Now, do you work often in the micro cap space? Is this one of your areas of focus?
So I guess when I started doing the public work in 1999, I'll say I was with my own small firm. I guess we were 35 people. And we really were bottom feeders, so to speak. And we started off on the pink sheets and the gray sheets. And then, the microcap. So, yeah, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy taking some of these microcap companies up, let them uplist to the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
It's always fun to take a small company and bring it to the top.
Oh, that's got to be cool to see, especially when they start with you, and then you see the company do well, and then they get to rise up. What draws you to working with these CEOs and these types of companies? Like, is there anything specific that just keeps you in the game?
Well, with the experience I have, and I'll say the Rolodex I have, I don't even know if that's a term anymore, but.
It is. I got my audiences. My audiences are you. You're my audience.
Yeah. So what happens, Adam, is I'll get these young companies, young CEOs or CFOs, and to add value, it's just not about, hey, can we do the audit? It's Levine. I call everybody by last name. It's, hey, Levine, can you introduce us to a hedge fund, or do you have a banker out there that can help us? Or what about an SEC law firm? So, I'd like to bring more to the table than just, hey, we can do this audit and move on to something else. It's always try to be something added value.
Talk to me a little bit about the current regulatory environment. Anything is in your experience? Is it what's it like right now compared to historically for you?
Yeah. So historically, when I had my own firm, I was in charge of the PCAOB inspection, and we always were happy, and we would say, hey, we got no comments. And that's how I would compete against other firms. Now it's tougher. Quality control is paramount for every firm. Staying up on technology, hiring the right people. Marcum just set up their own AI, artificial intelligence. So regulators are being really difficult. And what's making that difficult for us is the younger generation of today. To be a CPA, you got to get 150 hours of college in, which is a 5-year degree, not a 4-year degree anymore. So, the regulators, they're making it difficult. So a firm like Marcum with 4,400 people, the smaller firms are coming to me and saying, Levine, can you buy us? We don't have the technology. We don't have the quality. So it's tougher for the workers because we have to do a better job. And it's harder for the smaller firms to really stay in the business. So you may say, hey, Neil, what's Markham doing at a micro conference? You do 600 public companies. You guys have all the companies on NASDAQ. You're number 5 in the country. But yeah, we take these micro cap companies. We, go through corporate governance and we really put them on the right road so they can be successful to deal with the regulators, because really nobody wants to be in trouble. Nobody wants to lose their license. It's not like the old days. This is a very difficult regulatory environment.
Yeah, and one of the things that's interesting is I've kind of so I'm newer to, well, I should back up a sec. So just for us at least, so I was in finance almost 14 years, but I was an advisor, and so I came at this from a whole different side of the coin. I'm just looking at what the content they're putting out, but now, so this is my first time going to a microcap conference, or really covering microcap at all, actually, in terms of on this side of the coin, so to speak, or this side of the mic, I should say, right? So to go out there to see what CEOs are thinking about right now. I'm newer to that. For you, you've been doing this a long time, and like you just mentioned, insight into 600 plus companies. So I know it's not a one size fits all, but let's just say that the temperature, what's on the mind of some of the CEOs out there right now, from your perspective?
Well, the temperature for the microcap CEO would be, hey, we're a smaller company. We'd like to do things right. We'd like to stay in the game for, say, a year or so, maybe 2 years, on the OTC, which is the over-the-counter, and then uplist. So, hey, when you uplist, you're going to NASDAQ, you're raising bigger money, and if you have a really good product, sometimes you need a place to start, and this is a good place to start. When you're a microcap company, you can even start by not having audited financials, just getting your financials done, call them unaudited, people can see them. Then you can move up to corporate governance and getting yourself audited. It's a slower pace where you can start, but the bottom line is you're really going to focus on uplisting eventually. Even some of the trends in trading an OTC company that's not audited, very difficult. A lot of the broker dealers, if it's under a penny, they're not even going to let you take the stock. But it is a good place to park yourself, get some notoriety, eventually start filing audits, doing your 3 reviews, and then getting really the right accounting firm and bankers and lawyers to take you to the next level. But they're thinking, these CEOs, they have to get started. They may not have the infrastructure to go immediately to a bigger board, but it is a good way to start. One of my first companies, we took it from a bankruptcy probably in 2006. And I was fortunate. I rang the bell. We got them to the New York Stock Exchange.
Amazing.
And, I got to tell you, it was strange. I told everybody I was going to be on television. And, with the independence rules these days, they probably allowed it back then. But, I was on TV. People were calling me. They're like, Neil, we saw you. And I'm like, yeah, it's my company, meaning one of our companies. And I don't know if you ever been to the New York Stock Exchange, where they make you public. You're sitting in a room that's laden in gold tables. And it was really, I guess it's something a lot of people don't get to witness.
Yeah.
When you go public and you're on the NASDAQ, it's all computerized. So you're behind a screen and all the computers are doing everything. But with the New York Stock Exchange, there's people running around. And there was a lot of excitement, and I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Wow. I've been having this discussion kind of often since I've been going down, and covering this story and covering the conferences, the concept of some of these, newer entrepreneurs, or no, I shouldn't say newer entrepreneurs, but individuals making the decision of whether to take, private equity, whether they go public, whether if they want to, that other responsibility. Obviously, there's a lot of factors here. So this is not a loaded question by far, not meant to be. But have you noticed, like from from your vantage point, like any thoughts on that? Like whether, CEOs or things like that are thinking because of the regulatory environment specifically, and that's where that question comes from, by the way, is it even worth it? Or if they could raise money otherwise, should they go, another route? Like any thoughts on that?
Very difficult to raise money as a private company. As you know, the investment
right now, it's 2024 for context for everybody that's listening to this in the future, especially right now, January 2024.
Yeah, there's, if you go public, you're using other people's money. Maybe you can get more money. It's all about the infrastructure because these microcap companies, they may have an idea. There may be 3 people, there may be 20 people. Private equity really would not be something that they would do in their infancy. But they could do, I've seen a few of these private companies to raise money. They've been doing ESOPs lately, which is where the employees sign, the company goes to a bank, the bank funds them and they sell to the employees. But even that has been very slow. So what I've seen going into 2024, I've seen a lot more activity. These microcap companies, they're doing reverse mergers again. They're looking for SPACs, which are companies that already have money and they need a company with a great idea immediately before their term expires. But basically, if I had my own company and I needed to grow it, why not use other people's money if you really believe in it? And this way, the investors, they have a way out, right? You give a guy stock. He says, Levine, I don't like this idea after 2 years. And he can sell his stock. He can get out. I'm talking investors.
Yeah.
If you're a private company, the first thing they're always asked is, if I put money in, how do I get out and when can I get out? Just in case you need to get out. So that has been a long time discussion when you go public as a small company, and it's still the same question. It's like, why should I put money in your company? Is this a 5-year play? Is this a 2-year play? Are you going to be able to build your infrastructure to be acquired? And that's where a PE could come in, once there's really good establishment, because PE's looking for, quite an EBITDA, maybe $5 million or up.
So last question here, Neil.
Sure.
You've mentioned this multiple times, and I'd like to maybe get your input you to elaborate a little bit further here, like the importance of the team that these CEOs are surrounding themselves with, whether it's their accountant, their lawyer, like all of these other components that you're mentioning. Like, talk to me about the team.
Yeah, so important, because with quality control and corporate governance, you're going to want the right accounting firm. You're going to want to pay the right accounting firm. With the regulatory environment, you'll see many, many firms really being barred for 5 years, 3 years. It's really tough. So, but when you're a bigger firm, you do have the quality, you have the work papers, you have everything, that protect the investment community, and you need a good lawyer. You need a lawyer, who's not just going to say, hey, I'll do your Form 10 or Form 10Q. You're going to need a lawyer who knows the rules, and you're going to need a banker who understands, what warrants and issuing options due to a company's balance sheet and if there's going to be a lot of dilution. So the CEO really needs a quality team around them to execute his business plan really in this day and age. When I came around doing this in early 2000s, less important, now extremely important.
If somebody's listening to this and they want to continue the conversation and learn more about Marcum, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. Well, Marcum has their website, neil.levine@marcumllp.com. I'm also very popular on LinkedIn, so there's a lot of ways you can find me. If you want to ask to the people running the conferences that I speak at 2 or 3 times a year, they know how to get me as well. Be my pleasure to answer any questions anybody has.
Fantastic. Well, Neil, thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to meeting you in person at the conference. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. If you didn't hit that subscribe button yet and you're a new listener, hey, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based individuals on the line that we don't want you to miss a thing here. So again, hit that subscribe. And Neil, really has been a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you in Atlantic City. So thanks again.
Thanks so much, Adam, and I will bring a winter coat for you. Take care.